Welcome to Network Media Hub at 1, the place where we share video news from journalists across Namibia and glance through the country's printed media. I am your host, Priska Agnolo, and thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get the show on the road. Government will this afternoon at 3:30 at a press conference inform the public about final decisions taken about the future of the national airline in Namibia. After years of extreme financial difficulty worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, liquidation is apparently the only way out. Namibian Sun will stream this news conference live this afternoon. In today's show, we take a journey to the Hosea Kutako International Airport. We speak about the importance of mental health for school-going children, and the Dome in Swakopmund explains their youth empowerment initiative. Moving on. On Thursdays, your COVID-19 monitor breaks down quarantine data per region. By Tuesday, Namibia's total number of cases was 35,242, with 378 fatalities. Only 41 new cases were reported. Yesterday's data will be announced today. Since a week before, people housed in official quarantine facilities by the 9th of February increased from 982 to 1,147. This increase, as our graphic shows, is however still overshadowed by the high point of the second wave. Over the last 7-day cycle, 1,121 people entered quarantine and 959 were discharged. The largest groups of quarantinees are located in the Oshikoto region with 487, Irongo with 225, and Omaheke with 194. In Karas region, 123 people reached their 7th day in isolation on Tuesday. The Oshodonjupa region's quarantine facilities were cleared on the same day. On the lowest end of the spectrum is Omusati and Oshana, each with 2 people in quarantine, 4 in Zambezi, and 5 in Ohangwena, and 7 in Windhoek. Yesterday, the Namibia Airports Company toured the improvement at the Hosea Kutako International Airport with possible investors and the media. An amount of 1.3 billion Namibian dollars is needed to complete upgrades at all airports in the country. Ogeto Craig captured parts of the visit.
I'm very much excited about this new arrival hall because clearly, if you recall, the arrival hall that we had before and what you're seeing now, you really see that this is actually talking to international standards that we're talking about. That we would like to be the world class service provider. This area where we are, this is now our main check-in hall. In fact, I would actually hand over to Scott from the contractor and the project management just to take us through some of the aspects that are happening here.
Thank you, Leonard. Yes. Good morning. My name's Scott Richards from Lithon Project Consultants. We're the project managers for this project. As Leonard has indicated, this is the new check-in hall. It's essentially the first point of entry into the airport for people coming to fly. We have essentially increased the capacity of the check-in areas from a functionality, a queuing and a space perspective twofold. So what one previously experienced is now double that, or handling double the capacity of what we originally had. We have also moved the facilities for the restaurants and additional ablutions to this area. There will also be a larger circulation space, baggage wrapping, and also a provision for self-check-in facilities in this space.
Actually, inside the main terminal building, and if you look at the space that we have here now compared to what we have in the main terminal building, you really see that the capacity has increased. This is our main check-in hall. Currently, we only having about 14 check-in counters. But in the new area that we've just shown you, we are going to have 18 check-in counters. So you can imagine that we will be processing passengers quite efficiently and effectively. On the other hand, we also spoke about CUTE. CUTE, in other words, the airlines would actually not be designated to any counter. Immediately, if they want to check in at that particular point in time, they will just go to specific counters and then start facilitating the check-in. In addition to that, self-service check-in kiosk will also be set up within the terminal facility. We have also increased with the space for the duty-free. That is actually located in this area. We'll be moving very shortly. We have also increased on the departure boarding gates. We only used to have 4 boarding gates. Now we're going to have 8 boarding. Expanding the apron so as to ensure safety of the aircraft in terms of maneuvering. We're looking at expanding the apron towards this side. That's about the 70 million that we spoke about in terms of apron expansion. And that will obviously put us in a position to accommodate more traffic. And when we speak of more traffic, because airport business is based on volume. The more volumes that we can have, the more business that we can have. Immigration counters. Now we have doubled up the capacity. We're going to have about 18 immigration counters in this area. That now speaks to speed and in terms of efficiency, in terms of passenger processing.
Mental health remains extremely important for students. Aisha Wentworth, a clinical psychologist at the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, explains why to Yolanda Now.
Would you just quickly run us through, especially during COVID times, self-care and mental health is so important for an adult, and we might think that children isn't going through the same things, but you say differently. Just tell us why this is so important to focus on our children's mental health.
Thank you very much for the question, Yolanda. I think that as adults, if we can imagine that it's difficult for us, even with our higher order thinking skills, to be able to manage our situations, can you imagine how difficult it is for children who don't even properly understand their emotions, they don't know how to express their emotions, for them to be able to deal with all of these worries around COVID-19. So we really have to create a space, a safe space for them to be able to express and to be able to deal with their fears and anxieties around COVID-19. And a big part of children's mental health is socialization.
Exactly.
It is playing with other children. That's how they grow, that's how they develop. And now we've actually taken that away from them with the closure of schools and these things. So even that outlet isn't available for them that they would usually use on a daily basis. Even talking to their friends about their problems, they don't have access to their friends. So we really in COVID times now have to look at creating these safe spaces for them to really to be able to express themselves.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for telling us a little bit more about what is going on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
In the next insert, Vanus Engelbrecht of the Dome in Swakopmund explains the sporting facility's new gap year program aimed at empowering 15 school leavers. This footage was contributed by Irene Marie van der Veld.
I'm very excited that the Dome is very excited to welcome them to the Dome family. Their journey starts today. It's not only their journey, it's our journey as well. But this journey is all about making better decisions. So hopefully by the end of the year, they'll be in a better position to make an informed decision on their future. There are 4 jockeys in the program, and if I say jockey, I mean somebody that is passionate about what they're doing, and they represent they represent the pillars that the program stands on. So the one is adventure training. So we have Andre Ross, that is exceptional, that he is adventure training specialist for the past 22 years in Namibia. Then we have Etienne Raymond, he is the jockey for entrepreneurs training. So he has a history of training entrepreneurs. He was involved in setup and management of a couple of businesses and the strategies of businesses and so on. His passion is just to help people to discover their God-given talent. Then there is Ula. Ula is sport. Lawrence is the psychologist. That's part of the program. His interest in sports psychology is making very valuable to the program, but he's responsible for the life coaching and also the life skills training of the students in the program.
Moving on to the front pages of Namibia's print media today. Namibian Sun scooped other papers with the confirmation that Cabinet has decided on the voluntary liquidation of Air Namibia rather than throwing more good money after bad. Plans remain to re-establish a smaller local and regional operation. Republican reports that action is finally being taken against granite and marble mines that have destroyed part of the geological and cultural heritage with their excavations. According to the Allgemeine Zeitung, the Institute for Public Policy Research, the IPPR, found in its latest research report on freedom of speech that clashes between inhabitants and the police and army do not bode well for this fundamental right. The Namibian zooms in on tourism's frustration because of the continued closure of Botswana's border post at Kasane by this neighboring country. While New Era reports that last year, 404 cases of alleged gender-based violence were withdrawn in the courts. This makes up 17% of the total 2,370 cases reported. While New Era reports that last year 404 cases of alleged gender-based violence were withdrawn in the courts. This makes up 17% of the total 2,370 cases reported. For our last story for the front page, the Weekly Confidante leads with alleged special treatment regarding to municipal debt in Rundu. Next up, our pick from inside the dailies. According to Market Watch, 90% of participants in a survey done late in 2020 said they experienced bad service from the taxman. Namibian Sun reports on a call to end the debt culture, which allows more than a third of consumers in Rundu to not pay their accounts on time without stern action by the municipality. Next week, the Republican reports that the NASA Explorer Perseverance will touch down on Mars. Namibia's late space hero, Dr. Yapi van Zyl, insisted that this robot also deploy a small helicopter to explore the red planet. Read the detail in Allgemeine Zeitung why the multiple homicide trial of Jan Dippenaar was again postponed, this time with another 8 months to October 2021. The Namibian reports that it has been agreed with government that private medical aid funds will pay for COVID-19 vaccines for their members. New Era reports on the official start of the judicial year, where President Hage Geingob repeated his demand that free or at least affordable legal services must be made available to all Namibians. So remember that there is just 1 day left before the weekend and 2 before Valentine's Day. Do remember to spoil your partner or your loved ones, and not only on this day, but any other normal day as well. From me, Priska Agnolo, goodbye, enjoy your day, and do stay tuned for the weather as well.